On today's Locked On NBA Game Night, the Memphis Grizzlies hold on, the Timberwolves survive, Kawhi plays again, and the Clippers get a blowout win, all on today's show.
When that final buzzer rings, you know it's time for Locked On NBA Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. It's the true NBA fans' one stop for all the action. Every game, every night. It's Locked On NBA Game Night. Tipping off now.
Let's get it going on Locked On NBA Game Night. I'm Rylan, Stiles, host of Locked On Thunder. And joining me today is my guy, Koo, from Locked On Pistons, the super sub of Locked On NBA Game Night, sixth man of the year. Koo, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Looking forward to being on another episode of Game Night, and tough Pistons loss, but always excited to do Game Night.
It is a tough Pistons loss, and we'll start with your Detroit Pistons, who fall 109-103 in a game that felt like a different verse, same as the first for the Detroit Pistons, as they always find a way to be in these games. Sometimes they do fall a bit short, but there's always antics. There's always minor things that could have gone their way that either do or don't. But in this game, the Pistons had a few chances in the fourth quarter to continue to crawl back in, but it was Desmond Bane's 38 points that really put the exclamation point on the Memphis win. What did you see from these two teams, Koo?
So this was Cade Cunningham's first game back after missing 6 games, and he was very clearly rusty. Started off the game really poorly, had missed a lot of shots that he usually makes. He started to heat up a little bit in the third quarter, but by then Memphis has already caught a rhythm, and they were also without Jalen Duren in this game, so Zach Edey just completely destroyed them on the glass. He had 21 rebounds, just 6 points. It might be one of the best 6-point games I've ever seen in my entire life. He dominated the entire paint, whether it's rim protection, whether it was on the glass. He was an absolute force. And it wasn't just from blocking shots. It was guys being terrified to go up on anything around him and at the rim. So Memphis played really well. The Pistons were a bit shorthanded without some size in the front court, and Zach Edey took advantage and dominated the game. But Desmond Bane hit some really back-to-back clutch mid-range pull-ups in that fourth quarter that really, when, like you said, Pistons are coming back in, trying to get back into this game, and Desmond Bane just routinely hit over and over and over some really difficult shot making. Fantastic game from him. Memphis is really, this is a big time win for Memphis. For the Pistons, it's not really, it doesn't really matter, this loss for them. It seems like they're going to be stuck in 6 no matter what. They're not going to catch up to Indiana if they fall to 5, if they get up to 5 or get to 6. Doesn't really matter too much with the Pistons. They basically have their future secured. Memphis, however, though, they're in an absolute dogfight in the West, and they're 1-2 game stretch could take them from out of the play-in to maybe not even making the playoffs. So it's like this was a big time win for Memphis without Ja Morant.
Big time win on the road. And it was, Desmond Bane who continued to knock down shots, Jaren Jackson Jr., who had a stretch. Like when I felt that the Pistons were actually going to complete the comeback was that stretch where Cade Cunningham defends Jaren Jackson in the post and they get the stop. But Jaren Jackson still had 27 points and 11 rebounds in this game as well. But for the Pistons, they've played a lot of close games. They've been in situations throughout the season. And tonight, a couple of the possessions end in a very tough look from Tim Hardaway Jr. from 3. Cade Cunningham turns the ball over late. That was very costly. Overall this season, how have you seen this Pistons team handle clutch time?
They've certainly gotten better as the year has gone on. You don't win 43 games without winning some close games. And it seems like, we were talking about this before we even started recording. It seems like every single Pistons game is coming down to some kind of close, miraculous, just wild stuff happening at the end of the game. I think even Rob Perez on Twitter is constantly tweeting just another Pistons game. It's another Pistons game. Because every game seems like again, I said this to you before. Someone in the Pistons community said, if you're a non-Pistons fan, entertaining, fun basketball. If you're a Pistons fan, call your doctor. You're going to be having heart attacks almost every game. So the Pistons have been in a lot of close games. They have a lot of experience in these close games this year. They've won quite a bit of them. But just in this game, I thought Cade coming back and being rusty really hurt them. And on that stop you mentioned, when they got that, when Cade was guarding JJJ, They were able to get out in transition. Malik Beasley had an open three to take on the right wing to try to tie the game up, and he passed it up, tried to drive. Edey was at the rim. He kicks it out to THJ, who forces up a tough corner three. Probably didn't need to take it. So a tough loss, but I think this team, whether they can stay composed and win a close game, I don't think is at the top of the worries for Pistons fans and the Pistons going into the playoffs. I think more so their half-court offense outside of Cade Cunningham is probably their biggest concern. And then right after that is the quality of defenders they have to check perimeter guys outside of Asar Thompson.
So with this flip of the coin here, we've mentioned it's a big win for Memphis, and they are in a tricky spot. You are astute to note how they could be, a top 6 team. They could be a play-in team, which is what they seem to be trending toward right now. But then they get this big win. When they get into the postseason, what should we make of the Memphis Grizzlies? Who, there's games where, Jalen Wells had a massive steal at the end of the game to ice the game for Memphis. You have a capability of Desmond Bane to go 4 for 7 from 3. Jaren Jackson Jr.'s played excellent this season. Can we get the old Ja Morant back? Zach Edey is a weird mismatch for teams. And then Scottie Pippen Jr.'s filled in admirably as the Grizzlies have dealt with a ton of injuries. Where do things shake out for the Grizzlies who now have a new coach?
I low-key have a little bit of stock in the Grizzlies that if Ja Morant can just get back to being Ja, then they can do something in the playoffs. Now, obviously, Ja has dealt with injury all year and has been a little on-off. Hasn't had the greatest of seasons, but he did just have a really good game against Miami. He had a really good game winner, obviously. I'm not too concerned with all the celebration stuff. I don't really care for that. But on the court, JJJ is having a fantastic season. And Desmond Bane is a damn good basketball player. If they can just get the best version of Ja, if they can get something close to the best version of Ja, where he's playing extremely well, and we've seen him play well in the play-in. We've seen him play extremely well in the playoffs. This is not a dude who is afraid of the lights, a guy who doesn't have an experience in these moments. If they can get to the playoffs, if they can avoid the play-in, if they go to the play-in, it's cooked. If you get the 8th seed, I think it's over with. You're getting destroyed by your OKC Thunder. If they get the Rockets, I low-key really like the Rockets. I don't think you'd want to go against the Rockets either. But if they can avoid the play-in, if they can get a good play, if they can get good play from Ja, I think they can really hang with. I'm not the highest on the Lakers. The Nuggets outside of Jokic, they don't have much depth at all, and their other supporting cast are a lot of inconsistent players, and MPJ and Jamal Murray. Now the Golden State might be going in the right way, and they're pretty fantastic now with Jimmy, but. Point is that if you get a good Ja, if you get a good version from Ja, I think they can hang with anybody. Now, I wouldn't be shocked if they hung on to a top 6 seed and won a first-round series if Ja plays well.
Yeah, I totally agree. Their season hinges on Ja Morant and his ability to bounce back. And in the first 6 games of March that he played, he was averaging 30. He was excellent in the first 6 games of March. That's still in there. He's just got to be able to be available consistently, which you hope that in the postseason he would be, and he would be that caliber of player. But it'll make for a very fun Western Conference playoff picture, which we're going to talk about more coming up as the Timberwolves staved off what would have been a bad loss. The Clippers got a big lopsided win, and then we have 2 more East games to wrap up as well coming up. But first, I want to say right now, but our good friends over at 5 Hour Energy, go check them out today because daylight savings has snuck up on us again. And if you're feeling the loss of an hour of sleep, 5 Hour Energy has your back. The extra sunshine means more time for fun. And sometimes you need a little boost to power you through that extra allotment of time, whether you're staying up late to watch the NCAA tournament or squeezing in a round of golf after work, or just trying to keep up with your busy day. 5 Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need. Check them out today, and it's on-the-go convenience. Whether you're at the game or traveling home from a game, a 5 Hour Energy can be an easy grab and easily refresh you. Head to 5hourenergy.com for 15 flavors. You can find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You can even build your own 12-pack or 24-pack, and it's delivered right to your door. If you need one right this second, you can go grab a 5 Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. They're everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized with 5 Hour Energy. We're back on the Locked On NBA Game Night podcast. I'm Rylan Stiles. That is Khahill, Locked On Pistons, my guy, the 6th man of the year, the excellent, wonderful, extraordinaire media luminary. I mean, Substack, Watch playback. Locked on Pistons. He'll soon be on the Forbes 30 under 30 list. Cool. The Minnesota Timberwolves survived the Philadelphia 76ers. This current version of the 76ers, where you had Jared Butler starting, Quentin Grimes, who's been awesome for them, Adam Bona, like these Sixers push Minnesota, and the Minnesota wins 114-109 as Edwards came in clutch in the fourth quarter, tallying 37 points overall with 2 assists, 2 rebounds, a steal, and a block. He went 6 for 13 from 3. The 3-ball evolution from this season has been so fun to watch. Big deal or no big deal? Was this just a April malaise and the Timberwolves did what they needed to do? Don't even worry about it. Or were there signs in this game that give you some pause about Minnesota?
No, I don't think there's anything that give me real pause about Minnesota in this game. I think any concerns you have about Minnesota were there before the game and will be there after the game. I don't think anything new arose from this game from against Philadelphia. I do want to say just real quickly on Philadelphia's end, Quinn Grimes has been amazing for them. Like that dude is a former Piston. They let him go, trade him for THA, and then Dallas, after making the worst trade in NBA history.
The second worst trade as well. The first and second worst trades of the NBA season. Nico Harrison, congratulations.
There you go, GM of the year. But Quentin Grimes has been great for Philadelphia. I'm really interested to see what it looks like for how they really craft that team moving forward and going into next year. Retirees, Quentin Grimes, and whatever they decide to do with PG and Joel Embiid. But yeah, no, Minnesota. I have some concerns about them, but nothing new that came from this Philadelphia game. At the end of the year, all that matters is just getting a win. You're trying to get to the playoffs. You're trying to get there. And with the race that Minnesota's in, along with the rest of these West teams, just getting the win is all that matters. I don't care how ugly it is. I don't care who you play. As long as you get the win, that's all that matters at this point. It's an absolute war going on in the West right now.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. I mean, this was a little bit earlier tip than usual. This was a road game, and this is a team that knows that it's going to be in the postseason in some form. Clearly, the wins still matter because they are jockeying for position in the standings. But like you mentioned, the stuff that was concerning today wasn't new, and also I think was a bit overblown. Like they had 15 turnovers. Yeah, if any team has 15 turnovers, they're going to need to be slogging out a game. They shot 32% from 3. I think that number can improve. And because of those 15 turnovers, Philadelphia had 13 fast break points in this game. But when you look at really how the game flowed, Minnesota grew, its largest lead of 13 points in the second quarter. The Sixers went on a run just to in the second quarter. The third quarter, they bumped that right back up. And then from there, it's kind of a back and forth affair until Minnesota put their foot on the gas in the fourth quarter and grew a double-digit lead once again. So I think that this was a little bit of just playing with your food. And ultimately, you do like to see what Edwards did in that fourth quarter to really put the kids to bed in this one. And I think that the three-point shot is so legit for Edwards. But you look at down the list, Nickeil Alexander-Walker 0 for 2, Naz Reid 0 for 5 from 3, Julius Randle 0 for 2, Jaden McDaniels 0 for 2 from 3. Like that's stuff that you would expect to be much better on a consistent basis. To where if those things went differently, if those things kind of played to their norms, then this is a more this is a more comfortable win. This is a win that you more so expect than being down to the wire a little bit against Philadelphia. That the that the Timberwolves eventually got control of down the stretch. But
how about Rudy Gobert though? Rudy Gobert, 23 points, 19 rebounds, 10 of 11 shooting. Like Rudy Gobert balled out too.
What would you do if you're Minnesota? And, you have Julius Randle. There's the optics of like, hey, we just traded Cat for this guy. You can't necessarily bench him because he just traded your guy for him. He's getting paid a lot of money, but we don't really know if he's going to be a long-term fit here. As the playoffs roll around, is it crazy to think that Julius Randle's role should be matchup dependent?
So Julius came back from injury and they've played better and he's looked better. The game against the Pistons, I will say I watched that one start to finish. He moved off the ball a little bit more. He was quick with his decision making and they played well. And they've played well since he's come back. So I think that Julius is starting to play better next to Ant and they're starting to figure out how to use him correctly. And he's starting to figure out where he needs to be fitting within their offense. With that said, though, I definitely could see, especially with some of his past playoff struggles, if they make it into the playoffs, I definitely could see them opting to go with Naz Reid instead of Julius Randle because Naz Reid is really damn good. I think he's a fantastic player. And Julius Randle has shown that in the past has shrunk in the playoffs. Now, obviously, Minnesota hopes that that's not the case this year, but if it is the case, I mean, they have one of the best backups in the NBA in Naz Reid. So I definitely think it's possible that we see Naz Reid maybe close games over him or even play more than him if they do make the playoffs and he struggles.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most interesting things to watch about Minnesota is how long is the leash of you have the sample size, like you're mentioning, since injury. It's looked good, and it looks like something that you're excited about just to see what the picture looks like in the playoffs. But you also have this constant of what you feel like Naz Reid's going to be in the playoffs. And against the Thunder specifically, if you fall in that play and get the 8 seed, or against the tougher matchup, because I think that the tougher matchup would either be the 8th seed or avoiding the play-in altogether and not having to play the Rockets, playing somebody better than the Rockets. Like in that situation, the matchups would lean me to believe that I'd rather play Naz Reid flat out than Julius Randle. And how much wiggle room do you want to give and margin of error do you want to give to those Randle minutes? I find very fascinating, but I do think I agree with you. He's played better than even he did to start this season, much less in prior years over this last stretch. But cool. We got to go back to your Eastern Conference. Your Milwaukee Bucks got a 121-115 win over Miami in overtime. Giannis did Giannis things. 36 points, 15 rebounds, 10 assists, a block. He shot 62% from the floor and went 10 for 14 at the free throw line. What did you make of the Bucks pulling this one out? Again, no Dame. Like they're hoping that he's going to be back here relatively soon, and we hope the best for Dame. But man, this was, I felt like a gutty performance. I know that Miami is not who they were, and they're not as good as they have been in the past, and they're not a good team right now, frankly. Since the trade deadline and the drama, they didn't have Tyler Hero tonight. They didn't have Jaime Jaquez tonight. But I still thought that the Bucks dug deep and got this win. I
mean, Giannis is just absurd. There's a lot of talk, rightly so, for Jokic as the best player in the world. Rightfully so. But right behind him is Giannis. And Giannis, he's quietly just putting up, his 3rd straight career best season. It's been 3 straight years if we're probably going to sit here and say this is the best year of his career. He's been absurd this year. He's shooting more middies this year. He's almost or basically unstoppable. And I'm happy as someone who covers the Pistons that it's very unlikely that they will end up matching with the Bucks, because despite the fact that they don't have Dame, and despite the fact that the rest of the roster is quite frankly not very good at all, and they don't have very many good players outside of Giannis on the squad, he is terrifying. He is absolutely terrifying versus anybody. And when you have him on the floor, you have a chance versus anybody. Now, it may not be a huge chance because of his supporting cast being as bad as it is, but when he's on the floor, you have a chance versus anybody. He is an absolutely absurd basketball player. And I understand all the talk with Jokic, and obviously now with Luka in LA, that's been all the talk. But Giannis Antetokounmpo, I would say, is the 2nd best player in the entire NBA. And he's having, again, his 3rd straight, I would say, best year of his career. I mean, it's been absolutely crazy. For the Bucks, though, I do want to say this. I think their X factor might be Kevin Porter Jr. He is, in the last few games, he has the ability to just pop off for him. He is one of those guys who's either going to be super hot or he's going to be super cold. But he's one of the only players on their team, I think, that can pop off if Dame's not playing. I don't expect Torian Prince to go out there and pop off. Brook Lopez, I feel like he's looking more and more washed as the year goes on. He's old, so you get it. Andre Jackson Jr., you're not getting out of him. AJ Green, you're not getting out of him. Gary Trent Jr. at this point, you're not getting out of him. Connaughton, not getting out of it. Kevin Porter Jr. is the only other player on this team that I can, if you told me in a playoff game, oh, Kevin Porter Jr. dropped 28 points, I'd be like, oh, yeah, he probably went hot. And if you told me he had 4 points in the playoff game, I'd be like, yeah, that's how he is. So in this game, 24 points, 2 games ago, 28 points. He can pop off for him if he can be some kind, and he had a very tough lip at the end of this game to really ice it for him as well. Giannis is fantastic. If he can get one of those, just a few games of Kevin Porter Jr. just lighting up, maybe they get a chance. But Giannis is crazy. That's the biggest takeaway.
Yeah, Giannis is just superhuman. He's awesome at what he does, and he truly is having a fantastic season that deserves a ton of recognition. As talk about Shea and Jokic and Luka and everyone else. Giannis is right there in terms of best seasons. He's just not finding the team success. I think largely because it's out of his control of finding the team success, even in the Eastern Conference. But on the flip side of this coin, You're a team sitting in the playoffs. You're a team that's avoided the East play-in. Do you believe that Miami is going to be able to survive the Eastern Conference play-in tournament?
Do they want to survive the play-in tournament? Like, that's my do they even want to survive it?
Lottery protected pick.
I mean, look, Chicago has been playing really well over the last 15 games. Kobe White has been playing extremely well. I like what I'm seeing from Matas. Josh Giddey, obviously former Thunder. He's playing a lot better since the trade deadline. The Orlando Magic are this like wild card because like Paolo is really good, Franz is really good, but their offense sucks somehow, and you're just like, well, why is that? And then like I think I like Orlando. I think I like Chicago at this point, and I probably would take Atlanta over them as well. Because I think those teams probably at least want to win the play-in, whereas Miami, I'm not sure they even want to be in there. And I think just what happened with Jimmy and this whole season, I think they're just trying to get out of this season. I think they're just trying to get this wrapped up and get out of there.
Yeah, I would sell so much Miami stock right now of them trying to get out of the play-in tournament. I think that they look lifeless. The Bulls have way more life to me on the court and are having much more fun playing this game of basketball and more success playing this game of basketball, which leads to fun, than Miami is. I think that the Bulls will win that 9-10 game. And then from there, the Bulls Cinderella story, if you will, might end because I do believe that the Magic's defense will be really suffocating for the Bulls offense. And I would believe that Trae Young in a one game sample size, I'm going to favor Trae Young just going off and winning a game almost by himself. Plus he does have some nice pieces around him in Atlanta. But coming up, let's go out to the Atlanta Hawks and the New York Knicks, as well as the Clippers, where they got a lopsided win tonight with a special surprise. I want to tell you right now, first, though, about our good friends over at FanDuel. Go check out FanDuel right now because it is tournament time. It's now the NCAA March Madness Championship, where Duke fell to Houston with a late rally, so you can go to FanDuel and get a chance to get on the action like never before for the NCAA title game and make your picks for Monday's championship game. And don't worry, at FanDuel, new customers get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet hit. That's $200 in extra bets, in extra bucks to bet on anything at FanDuel if you're a new customer and your first $5 bet hits. Make sure you check them out today because you can go bet on that NCAA championship game on Monday. But if you only love the NBA, no worries. The NBA slate is there for you as well. Like the Thunder being 9-point favorites against the Los Angeles Lakers on Sunday. Go check it out today at FanDuel.com. We're back on Locked On NBA Game Night. I'm Rylan Stiles. That's Koo. Locked On Pistons, Locked On Thunder here. Koo, let's start. Let's finish up your petty Eastern Conference. I mean, the Eastern Conference, so terrible. The New York Knicks win 121-105 over the Atlanta Hawks as they really had some life injected into them because Jalen Brunson comes back tomorrow, and they played like a team that was excited to get their guy back tomorrow and their captain back tomorrow, because on down the list, now, obviously these numbers are a bit inflated because like they just play them so much, but you look at this starting five, OG had 24, Cat had 30, Bridges had 20, and then you got 10 from DeLon Wright, you got 16 from Josh Hart. Hart had 11 assists, and Cat had 11 rebounds. Hart had 9 rebounds himself, almost having a triple-double. And then the three-point shot, it was money tonight for the New York Knicks. They shot 51% from three, in large part, obviously, because of their starting five, with Landry Shamet having 4 for 10 off the bench. But that starting five was Josh Hart 2 for 2, OG 2 for 4, Cat 2 for 3, Bridges 2 for 3, DeLon Wright 2 for 4. And again, all this without Jalen Brunson yet, as he's not going to come back until tomorrow. So they spoiled Trae Young's 16-9 game in this one. Atlanta just did not have the offensive power as they only muster up 105 points to get this one. But Koo, the story of this game to me is that the Knicks have it. Like, the Knicks are capable of being contenders. It's just the fact of the matter that the NBA playoffs span 3 months. And do you trust this team, coached by Tom Thibodeau, to still have gas in the tank in 3 months from now? And whenever the playoffs past the first round, move to that every other day format, like, you could really see this thing going off the rails. But if you're playing 2K, as I know you love to do, Koo, and you turn injuries off and you turn stamina all the way up and it's all good, you just play your top guys no matter what, this Knicks team's right there is like a title contending favorite, but you can't do that in the NBA.
Look, I'm gonna say this. I know for good reason. There's been a lot of jokes thrown at the Knicks' way throughout the majority of this year. They don't win against good teams, which obviously has been true for the most part of this year. They haven't been able to beat Boston or Cleveland. Are they on their level? Probably not. I get all that. That's all true, and I get the jokes. I just want to say this. New York is peaking at the right time. The last 15 games, the biggest concern for them has been their defense. Mitchell Robinson returned on February 28th. Since then, he's played 15 games. In the Knicks' last 15 games, they have the sixth best defense. OG Anunoby got healthy. Mitchell Robinson got healthy. And they have the sixth best defense since he returned. This is a defense that has been bottom 15 for the majority of this season. It's not been a very good defense, but they were without their big man. Since he's returned, they are playing like a top 6 defense, and that's without Jalen Brunson coming back to help with the offense. Now, you could make the argument that once Jalen Brunson comes back, the defense might slip a little bit, which is fair. But if they can just stay within, they're a 6th ranked defense over the last 15 games with Mitchell Robinson. If they can stay within a top 10-ish defense and get that offensive rating up from the 18th offensive rating since Jalen Brunson went down and get it back to where it was for most of the year as a top 5 offense, that's a scary team. That's what this team was built to be about. This is a Tibbs-led team with big wings and Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby. OG Anunoby, again, like I said, is getting healthy. He's playing his best basketball at the right time of the year. Mitchell Robinson's come back to kind of stabilize that position and help them out, and especially help Cat out. And Cat's been playing exceptional all year this year. Jalen Brunson's going to come back before the playoffs, get some of that rust off, and be ready for the playoffs where we know that he has been a playoff killer in the playoffs. I'm not saying they're going to beat Cleveland or Boston, but I am saying that I don't think this New York's team as of April 6th is the same New York's Knicks team that we saw lose to all the good teams before February 28th. Like I think this team is peaking at the right time, and they're finding their way defensively. And it looks like the Pistons are going to match up with them at 6. I think that's probably their best matchup because I'm terrified of Indiana. But New York is peaking at the right time. I don't think that this is the same make fun of Knicks team that from a month and a half ago. I just don't think so.
Well, this certainly is not the same Dallas Mavericks team from 2 months ago as they lose 135-104 against the Los Angeles Clippers in a game where James Harden ends up stealing the spotlight as Harden goes for 29 points and 14 assists to go with 7 rebounds, and he shot 52% from the floor. But Kawhi Leonard played a back-to-back. Same team back-to-back, but still, he played a back-to-back and played 25 minutes in the second leg of this back-to-back. And in 25 minutes, really 26, he put up 29 points. 29 points. Everything went in for the Clippers. They clearly did because they scored 135 points. But still, 135 points, and they played electrifying defense, easier to do against Dallas with no guard play. And Jaden Hardy even was out in this game. But still, the Dallas Mavericks only scored 104 points with AD in the lineup and PJ Washington in the lineup. Too bad he was not playing in Oklahoma City. And even Derek Lively back in the lineup, but they just still could not score the basketball. Really, for the Clippers, this was a huge win because you had Harden go off, you had Kawhi go off and play, and then Norman Powell was like the only bad thing that happened tonight to the Clippers. He bumped knees with a Maverick, trying to come off a screen, and it looked pretty dire. He was like kind of scraping across the floor, and I thought, oh my goodness, like this is the worst thing ever. But he was fine. He was able to collect himself and still play 30 minutes in this game. So that was a great sign as well for the Clippers that he could continue to play in a game like this where they were routing Dallas, and it didn't necessarily mean too much, especially to prioritize his health, that he was still able to play 30 minutes. So everything, I think, came up smelling like roses for the LA Clippers tonight.
I just want to say I'm so sorry, Mavs fans. Like I don't know, I don't know what you watch the rest of the season. Like, what do you like watching the season for? I'm so sorry. But look,
just watch Locked On Mavs. Don't even watch the games. Just let Locked On Mavs tell you what happened, and everybody wins.
I feel so bad for Nick, man. but look, the West this is how I feel about the West right now. It's OKC and everyone else. Like, I think OKC is the only team that separated themselves from everyone else. And I fully expect OKC to probably get to the NBA Finals. And to be honest, I probably think relatively easily. However, we'll see what happens when they get there. There is multiple teams that are peaking at the right time and are very dangerous. The Golden State Warriors are incredibly dangerous. 12-0 with the starting lineup, 19-2 with Jimmy Butler and Steph on the floor. This Clippers team. Now, look, It is a huge if. I understand this. It is a huge if. But I think basketball fans everywhere hope that this is a good if. I think everyone wants this to be the case. Maybe not Stephen A, because Stephen A likes making fun of this for some reason. But everyone wants Kawhi to be healthy. They want to see healthy Kawhi. A healthy Kawhi Leonard is a bad man, dude. Over the last 15 games, 25 points a game on 52, 41, 83 splits. He's shooting 57% all two-pointers. He's looking like Kawhi of old. That is the biggest deal of any game the Clippers play. Him playing in a back-to-back. Him being able to stock up 29 points on 12 of 19 shooting in 25 minutes. The last game, he had like 17 in the first half and then didn't even need to play the last. Like, he is looking like the Kawhi of old. The Clippers are a really good and deep basketball team. Zubac is having the best year of his career. Didn't miss a single shot in this game. He was making everything around the rim. James Harden is having another all-star caliber year. Norman Powell was playing like an all-star this year. I love their depth. I love the Bogdanovich move. I like Derrick Jones Jr. This team, along with Tyronn Lue being the coach, they're just another one of those teams that if they get into the top 6, if they even make it to the 7th seed, if they match up against Houston, I don't think, if as long as Kawhi is healthy, I don't think anybody outside of OKC, I don't think anyone wants to play a healthy Kawhi Leonard with this Clippers team. This is I am close to making the argument that if Kawhi is healthy, they're the 3rd best team in the West. Like, this is a terrifying basketball team.
And I think that you're well within that right to make that argument. And I think that you're totally spot on about your Clippers. Go check out Locked On Clippers as well for your second listen. Check out Locked On Pistons as well as we recap their game, but there's going to be more details in there, of course, from this game of Locked On Pistons. And until tomorrow, because we have Locked On NBA Game Night every single night to recap it daily on the association. Until then, be good and be good to one another.